You're listening to a Destiny Park Media podcast.
Welcome back to the Akira Slide podcast, where we slide on into the latest and greatest pop culture and anime/manga moments.
Yes.
And the moment we're in right now is we have just finished the first half, allegedly, of this new series for Dragon Ball called Dragon Ball Daima.
Yeah.
And before we get into that, Merry Christmas, Jala.
Merry Christmas to you, sir.
This is coming out at Christmas time.
Yeah. Festive and all.
And I got you some nut butter.
Yeah. This, for those who don't know, maybe if you shopped, I've seen a lot of these kind of more in like more niche grocery stores like Trader Joe's or something like that, where they'll have like these like nut butters. Like I think people are very familiar with the hazelnut butter, which is basically the Nutella. You know, I don't like hazelnut. Yeah. It's that's kind of the intro in to the nut butter.
Sort of the Pokemon.
Yes, the Pokemon in to the anime world, so to speak. And then from there, people just kind of started doing more. So cookie butter has been really big.
Oh,
cookie butter is good.
Love cookie butter.
Cookie butter is a good one. I've tried that at Trader Joe's, and Michael has given me 3 festive nut butters from
Nutty and Nostalgic.
Yeah.
And anyone who's a close friend of mine has heard me yammer on about these guys. Great company. They like to do flavors based on discontinued snacks, not stacks, snacks from the 90s, or maybe the aughts as well.
Right.
And then sometimes they'll do a series of like movie-based flavors, but they're a small batch nut butter distribution company, and I just really like them. I'm probably going to order them a little less often now because I think I have a tree nut allergy.
It's unfortunate, really.
Yeah, and then like I don't have a peanut butter allergy, but sometimes when you're a man, you have to keep stuff out of your house that is too tempting.
Yeah.
And eating this stuff out of the jar it's a beautiful moment, but it's also extremely rich, calorie dense food.
Yeah.
So I said, who's a guy who's in good shape I can give this to?
Who can I bring down to the basically reverse their body? No, I think for me these are really like sneak a spoonful.
Yeah.
Like I just ate a big meal. Like I kind of want like something like desserty. I'll just take a spoonful.
Some people put them in smoothies. Some people put them in oatmeal, which oatmeal is a good, healthy breakfast for men of our age.
Yeah. I've never been a big oatmeal guy, but
oatmeal's good.
I was always my mom I was always a cream of wheat, which is such a I know, it's such an old man.
Your mom was grooming you to be an old man.
Yeah, always going to be an old man.
Let's cut that. We'll cut that. I shouldn't say something about your mom.
Grooming. Yeah, it's very funny though.
Sorry about that.
Still.
Oatmeal actually fucks. Brown sugar crunch. If you find if you go to Caribou Coffee, they have something called Brown Sugar Crunch Oatmeal. Okay. I used to fuck with that when I worked there.
Okay. I'll try that.
That was a delicious breakfast. Nice. There's all sorts of fun oatmeals out there.
For sure.
Don't be afraid.
I won't. I should get back into it. I just haven't... I love granola.
Granola is delicious.
Big granola guy.
Granola with yogurt.
Granola yogurt, granola cereal.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I fuck with a good granola cereal, too.
You could put this in yogurt, too, also. I think some people put this nut butter in yogurt.
What? That actually would be a good idea as well.
But yeah, not sponsored. Hashtag not a sponsor.
Hashtag not sponsored. No money.
So anyway, no money yet.
No backdoor.
But yeah, I've been supporting these guys for a while, and I said, I gotta, it's like the cursed tape from The Ring. Remember The Ring?
You're sharing something that's sinister?
Well... It's a cursed videotape where you watch it and you get a phone call from a little girl who says 7 days.
7 days.
And you're like, what?
What's happening?
And then you die in 7 days, and she climbs out of the well, and it used to scare me so bad. I was obsessed with that movie for months, and
It's so funny.
I had to keep the lights on the first night I watched it. Probably the most scared I've ever been after a movie.
Do you remember what year that came out?
2002. Okay. The American one.
Yes.
The Japanese one, I believe, came out in 1998. We call it Ringu, but I sort of feel weird about like pronounced versions of Japanese movies.
Sure.
Like the film House, people call it Hausu. And it feels kind of like, my friend Brian Clark called it, he called it out as when someone goes to a like French restaurant and like pronounces
French words
to try to sound like smart.
The French don't love that. I don't know if people are aware of that. Which is unfortunate because if you're trying to learn and you want to like feel like, I guess, ingratiated in, they would rather you not. If you can't really pull it off vocally, they just would rather you not. So
yeah, well, it's sort of like what we talked about last week about J-pop and K-pop. It's like, you know, you can just call the movie the word that it is. You don't have to pronounce it the way it's pronounced in the other language.
Right.
Like when you call Godzilla movies Gojira. Like, you know, that was something that used to be a sign of you being a smarty.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, his name's actually Gojira in Japan. But no, just call him Godzilla.
It's Godzilla.
It's
I understand.
Yeah, it's the actual international name created by Toho. Like,
right.
He's Godzilla.
It's okay. Yeah, he's definitely Godzilla.
There are characters that make up the name Godzilla. Go-Ji-Ra. But you can call him Godzilla. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he says, "That's fine."
I'm fine with that pronunciation.
I'm fine. He's eating some granola. That's fine, dude. Yeah. So for Christmas this year, I think one gift that we could give each other is the gift of a rec. You could recommend something to each other.
A good rec.
I
respect that.
I respect that.
I think that's a great point. Now, you mentioned a good recommendation. Are you talking about in the food space and the nerd space?
Let's keep it in the nerd space.
All right. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the show Daima, but it's a pretty great show.
You know, I'm not a big fan of kids. You know, there's.
I mean, they get turned into kids. They're not kids initially.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, I'm down.
In fact, they aren't kids at all.
Okay.
They just look like kids.
They're just shrunk.
Yeah. Basically, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
We got shrunk. That's my version of that film.
Yes.
Dragon Ball Daima is very much Honey, We Shrunk the Goku and his friends.
Is.
Actually, the joke title I tell my friends is Son Goku and His Little Friends.
His little friends.
Which is funny because he's little too in the show, but I just love the idea of Blank and their little friends.
Yeah, that's cute though. It's a cute way to do it.
That was Peanuts' original title in Japan.
Yo,
I made that up.
Did you know that Peanut?
That's a total lie.
This is a side tangent, but Peanuts. You know, Charles Schultz, he hates that name.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he hates it. He wanted to call them. I think it was. He wanted to call them Lil Folks.
Oh, I remember that.
Which is way cuter and way more
Lil Folks.
Yeah, Lil Folks, which I think is. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Please forgive me if it's a little off, but I'm pretty sure he wanted to call it Lil Folks.
Well, that's so interesting because I never even. There's certain cultural touchstones. I've never even questioned that name. I just go Peanuts.
Yeah. He's
Charlie Brown.
They I guess decided against it for some reason. They didn't want him to call the show that.
Is that like an old fashioned name for little tykes?
Yeah. It would be like, Peanuts? I guess it'd be the equivalent of calling like little tykes or something like that, which is fine, honestly.
Little Peanuts.
Yeah, Peanuts is like
Pee Wee.
Yeah, Pee Wee and stuff like that. He wasn't a fan of it, but it stuck. So
that's too bad.
Yeah, I think I may start just calling them Little Folks and just throwing people off. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I might call them Charlie Brown and his little friends.
His little friends. Yeah, him and his little friends out there.
You know, Linus stood up for someone who had leukemia and he's an awesome anime protagonist.
He really is. He's a great companion to Charlie Brown.
Great kid.
Yeah, really good kid.
I think even as I've sort of not been into Peanuts anymore, I would still say Linus he's a real one.
And real ones carry around blankets, apparently. I know I do. I mean, not out in my real life, but when I'm in the house, I definitely have a blanket over me.
Do you?
I do, honestly.
All right, that's cool, man.
I do. I just don't have one right now.
Yeah, I've never seen you with a blanket, but I'm not trying to put you on the blanket spot.
He's got pretending to be Linus, or
this guy a Linus fan? This guy a Linus stan?
I'm really more of a Franklin guy.
Hey, Linus, I wrote you back. You still like...
All right, Slim.
All right. Anyway. So, you and I, we're both Dragon Ball fans. I think we've made that abundantly clear.
Yes, it's early in our childhood. We've continued on with it, and landed into Daima land.
Yeah. So, real quick, what are your thoughts on modern Dragon Ball? I'm talking about everything that's come out since 2013, when Dragon Ball Z: Battle of Gods. Because these were Dragon Ball Z movies at first. Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods came out.
I guess, to be honest with you, the show, even when Z arrived, but moving into the more modern Dragon Ball stuff that's come about, a critique that I have about it is that the show doesn't allow for many other characters other than Goku and Vegeta to be showcased as far as like relevant power wise, because Saiyans just superseded people, superseded the original like Dragon Ball gang. So like we used to have like this giant family. So it used to be like Krillin obviously was always with Goku there for a long time, and then during the Z era he kind of got left in the dust as far as from a power standpoint.
Well, not to interrupt you, but the story of Krillin keeping up with Goku and Piccolo in the Saiyan and Namek sagas is one of the most captivating and alluring parts of those two stories.
It is.
He is like right there with them the entire time until Frieza kills him.
Yeah.
But it hurts to see him go because he's gone through so much shit and he's survived so much incredible, against the odds stuff, and he's brave the whole time. He's a human against these otherworldly alien threats, and he just never gives in.
Yeah, Krillin's he's a very interesting character because he has to really get the nerve, and he does every time, but he has to get the nerve to really like face it.
Well, bravery is not being afraid.
Exactly.
It is being afraid and then still just stepping up.
And that's what Krillin does.
Yeah, that's why he's one of the best characters.
Absolutely. So it's like, we have this cast and family in the Dragon Ball universe, and a lot of them just don't get to showcase anything. And so that's a negative for me as far as like moving into the newer stuff. The movies, I think I've really enjoyed the Dragon Ball movies maybe more than even the some of the super shows. I enjoy characters, some of the new characters that have arrived in Super. I've enjoyed Hits. I've enjoyed the other Saiyans when the other Saiyans from the other universe. I think Universe 6, right?
Universe 6, yeah.
Yeah, Universe 6 Saiyans. I think is a cool concept of having Saiyans that are from a different universe that look different body type wise.
Very, very skinny.
Yeah, skinny drawn characters.
That's modern Toriyama, by the way. He likes to draw less muscles.
Yeah.
Which, I we'll talk about it. Yeah, I have thoughts about that.
And that makes sense, honestly. You spend most of your life drawing very muscular characters. You're just like, I could just see it. I'm just so done with this like body
I'm
type.
so sick of abs.
Yeah, I don't want to see another ab, another fucking striation in the arm. Yeah, like, I'm done with it. So I get it.
Lats.
Yeah, some calf muscle. But no, it just... so yeah, that piece, I've enjoyed the movies. I really enjoyed the Broly movie. I thought was fantastically animated.
Yeah.
Probably the best, one of the best animations that they've done for Dragon Ball, I think.
Yeah, that's cool.
If I can remember correctly, I would say so. But yeah, man, it's my love though, kind of for Dragon Ball, has mostly sat in the Dragon Ball original and like the first, like a lot of Z. I have a weird like revisionist history about Z, where like if I think about it, like there's moments that I really love, but there's also moments that like are completely pointless and not needed, and a lot of filler and but the newer modern stuff. Super is, we'll talk about it, but it's kind of controversial as far as just people just not being up to snuff for a lot of it. Yeah. Based on animation designs and things like that, even character portrayals, I think, which is even a bigger piece.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that drives me crazy about Super is portrayal of a character and their foundational like characteristics.
Right. Right.
They do that a lot, unfortunately, with Son Goku. Which we'll talk about. Yeah. For me, I appreciate everything you said, and I actually am one of those annoying fans who got started with the show in Dragon Ball Z because that was what was airing at the time I started watching. Yeah. So at a certain point, you can't blame the fans as much as maybe you want to, because like nostalgia is a powerful drug. Yeah. And for them, the story started with Dragon Ball Z, and it's like, why would I watch the story about Goku as a little kid when I like when he goes boom and
he has no power
turns
levels.
Yellow. Yeah, what are the power levels? Like you watch Goku turn into an Uzaru, and you go, yeah, but he couldn't even beat Frieza here. So what's the point? This is meaningless.
What are the power levels?
No, I'm not a power scaler, by the way. But, I do think you should be able to like conceive the general power level of the general like how this person scales with that person. And I think Dragon Ball Z did a really good job of like, okay, we know this guy is stronger than this guy, who's stronger. They did a good job throughout pretty much the whole show of showing you where everyone was at.
Right, and that was cool from like almost like a mathematical standpoint.
But what it did was it also. Toriyama, the only way he knew how to show that the new villain was a threat was to have him embarrass the one of the anti-heroes of the cast, like Vegeta or Piccolo. Sure. Or, he just only knew how to humiliate lesser characters than Goku in order to show, like even in the King Piccolo arc in Dragon Ball, Tenshinhan gets humiliated by King Piccolo. And that's how we show that, okay, Goku's in trouble if he fights him. But it sucks. Like when I was watching Daima today, I saw that shot of the cast, and it has all these characters like Yamcha, Chaozu, and I thought, God, I cannot imagine how sad it would be to watch Dragon Ball if my favorite character was Chaozu. Oh, can you imagine?
Or even Yamcha,
where it's like this guy got one line this whole series so far. Like I've been bitching about being a Piccolo fan for years and how difficult it is. Sure. Because he doesn't get the shine until recently. Yeah. But he hasn't gotten the shine for like 20 years. And I'm like, he hasn't been relevant in years. Yeah. But he still gets to do stuff at least.
He's still there.
Even in the Majin Buu saga, which I really get pissed off about how they portrayed him. Yeah. He's still the main strategist for a lot of that arc. And they treat him with respect, at least. Yeah. For the most part. I mean, Goten and Trunks don't. Anyway.
Yeah, they don't.
No, but so Dragon Ball I've never seen in full. Right. We will definitely have an element to this podcast where
that'll be fun.
We are going to rewatch Dragon Ball, and I'm going to read the manga.
Oh, yeah, the manga. Yeah, I got book 1 over there.
I know everything that happens in it. And,
so you do know all of
because I was a spoiler kid.
Oh, I got it.
When I got into Dragon Ball, I was like, this is so fucking cool. I got to see what happens next, because Funimation took a while to dub the batch of episodes after the Frieza saga. Yep. And so I had to see what happened next, and saw that Vegeta turned Super Saiyan. I go, holy shit.
It's crazy.
And then there's another Super Saiyan, Trunksu. Todanksu. Sometimes we will overpronounce Japanese names on this podcast. To be clear, the joke is on us. It's not on. Yeah, it's like, I'm going to a Japanese restaurant and saying Todanksu. but it's not like I'm joking about, the Japanese language.
No. This is kind of an American joke. Making fun of Americans.
Like, I'm a weeaboo.
There you go. Exactly. Straight weeaboo.
Yeah, and I'm just getting my weeaboo on, my friends.
There you go.
But so I do intend to watch it, but I am one of those fans who loves Dragon Ball Z. And my favorite arc in terms of like quality of storytelling is the Saiyan arc or Saiyan arc. Saiyan is the correct way to pronounce it.
Yeah. Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
In the Japanese version, it's Saiyajin.
Saiyajin.
So if we were to correctly like translate that, it would be Saiyan.
But
Saiyan, I'll say it. I'm not going to be a purist.
Yeah.
But that's an amazing arc. I think it's the apex of the series, and Piccolo's arc is extremely moving there to go from kidnapping his rival's son to use him as a weapon to like developing a fatherly bond with him is just beautiful.
Yeah.
And having him become an ally of Goku's is just incredible.
Teacher-student thing.
Yeah. And the Namek saga, I split that up because I love the Namek saga where Vegeta is something that the show's never had before. It's
really cool.
He's not a main villain of the arc, but he is a dangerous, fucked up lunatic on the loose.
Yeah.
And he is
like a wild dog.
Yeah. And dude. Oh, perfect. He's just going off and killing Namekians and working against Frieza, but also interacting with Krillin and Gohan in a dangerous way.
Yeah.
And then they have to work together. It's
you just have to work
they
with this
have to work with
dog.
This, horrible piece of shit. And then eventually, over time, Vegeta becomes an ally of theirs. But, I actually don't like most of the Frieza arc.
Oh, really?
Which the reason why I don't is because something happens which Miss Terra Fusion calls power level volleyball.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah, so Frieza,
this is the first of that.
Frieza announces, I have 4 forms, by the way, LOL. he literally says he has 4 forms and then says, here's my next form.
Yeah.
And then
you're right.
Then they say, okay, we're stronger than this form for 5 seconds. And he says, well, now I have another form.
Yep.
They say, okay, go on, please. And then,
you're right. You're right.
And then they fight that form, and then Gohan pushes him a little bit. So he goes, well, I'm going to better do that other form I told you about. And
better enter it.
It's like very casual. This is like a Family Guy cutaway.
Yeah, literally.
Oh man, Lois, this is even worse than the time I fought Frieza when it's 4 forms.
4 forms.
And then punches Frieza. Ow! I'm gonna have to do my second form now. And then he punches the second form. Oh, jeez, ouch! What the heck, dude? Just a really weak, effeminate voice.
Yeah, I mean,
ouch.
The voice actor does have that quality to him.
Chris Ayres, yeah.
It's Chris Ayres.
Yeah. Chris Ayres, that's the Dragon Ball Kai version.
I never watched Kai.
In the original Z, it is a woman.
Okay, it is a woman. That's why.
And she says, whatever turns you on, big boy.
Yeah.
To Goku.
Yeah, it's a good
normal thing to say.
Yeah, very normal.
And that was an edited version of the show on Cartoon Network that we watched. And it's cool that we still got to see some cool violence and sexual lines like that.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
But yeah, so I actually, Goku turning Super Saiyan is iconic. I love that scene. I love him destroying Frieza after Frieza was an insurmountable wall for so long.
Yep.
But it's a really, especially in Z, I think people forget what a horrible watch that is.
Oh no, the watch is bad.
It's terrible. It's constant, like, cliffhangers, but also like no progress made each episode.
Right.
Like, Goku raising his arms and having the spirit bomb generate, and it takes just multiple episodes. It's horrible. Not very entertaining at all.
But this is why this is the one that I look back on Z. It's a lot. Z has a lot of that, and it's just like, man, this is just not.
But the manga is much better paced in the Frieza arc. I will say it still has the power level volleyball shit,
sure,
but it's much better.
Okay,
and we should do something about this.
Definitely.
Read something.
Yeah.
Sure. But I have a soft spot for the Android Cell arc. And I actually love that arc, even though it is kind of narratively confusing and a mess. Like, Gohan becoming the main character, like, 3/4 of the way through is bizarre. He does pretty much nothing up till that point.
Yeah, I didn't like that when I was young.
People love Gohan, dude. People love him.
I used to not like him because I thought he cried a lot.
But dude,
and it annoyed me when I was a kid. I was like, this guy just cries all the time. And
it's like he's a child.
Yeah, and he's like, he is a child.
And I
was a child watching him as a child, being like, why is this guy crying?
Well, he was kidnapped and forced to do this stuff against his will, and then he kind of didn't know any other way except this way. So
yeah. No,
he genuinely wanted to be a scholar. That's the thing. The American version makes it seem like Chi-Chi forces him to be a scholar, but he genuinely loved reading and doing his studies. So
I respect it as an adult now.
Yeah,
I get it now.
Yeah.
Back then I was like a karate fiend, so I'm like, why does this guy not want to fight?
Just get good.
Yeah, get good and fight, bro.
Skill issue.
But yeah, skill issue 1, 2, your dad is always going to be better than you until you actually become better than him.
Oh, bro.
I know. Such a traditionalist, bro. I told you.
Your dad's going to be better than you, bro.
He's got to be better than you because guess what? You're a kid.
So, and then the Majin Buu arc, I think I really love the first half of that story. I think that's my favorite part of the whole series.
The Heart Attack era.
The World Tournament. Heart Attack was from Android/Cell.
Oh, that's right. It was toward...
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. My bad. Yeah.
I like that part too, though. That's actually really cool tension where Goku's grabbing his chest and he's like, oh, I'll just fight these guys in Super Saiyan. And he's like ignoring his heart attack. That's
what's so
in
funny?
Character.
Actually, I was worried about him.
Oh, I was too.
I was like, holy shit, his heart, man.
Yeah. And people get mad at Goku for that, but Trunks did say don't take it until you feel the symptoms. So it's just a case where the timing for it is super inconvenient. Mm-hmm. And they foreshadow it a ton where Goku and the androids fly to an island and Goku's clearly winded and breathing heavy and sweating. And then... Yeah,
he was sweating. That was so weird to see him sweating
he turns Super Saiyan and it looks like he's dominating Android 19 at first, mm-hmm. but you realize, his punches aren't actually like hurting him all that much.
Right.
He's just kind of slapping him around, but it's not really like...
There's no effect.
He's not dominating. He's just like doing a lot.
Right.
He's doing the most.
He's doing the most.
Yeah, but it's not really... So anyway, no, the Majin Buu story, which starts out with the Great Saiyaman, mm-hmm. Gohan going to high school and genuinely being the main character for a few chapters.
Sure.
Then they do the world tournament, the Tenkaichi Budokai, and Goku comes back to visit for the day, and they get roped into this crazy story about a magician, not magician. Hey, I got a rabbit in a hat. About a wizard named Babidi.
Oh, Babidi, sure.
Who has the Supreme Demon King Dabura mm-hmm. Under his control. And from there, the tension just ramps up. And I love... I hate that Piccolo gets turned to stone and so does Krillin. I hate that.
Oh, but yeah, that's funny.
I do say that sometimes Toriyama did the right thing by limiting the story to just Goku, Vegeta, and like Gohan. Like in that scene, it would be weird to have so many people involved in Babidi's ship.
Yeah.
And it would be too much going on. And same with the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that movie would be so cluttered and confusing if the Z Fighters were in it.
Yeah,
it's better to be. It's a more personal story to have it be these three Saiyans from Planet Vegeta.
Yep.
Settling their beef and their generational traumas and
duking it out.
Mostly just duking it out.
Yeah,
in beautiful animation.
Yeah.
But anyway, second half of the Majin Buu arc is a narrative nightmare where Toriyama says, here's the thing that will like be the focus of the story, where it's like about the next generation rising up.
Sure.
And then it's about Gohan being the main character again for 5 seconds. And then it's about Goku coming in to save the day. And then Goku has to fuse with someone. And then they don't like fusion, I guess, for some reason.
For whatever weird reason.
And for some reason, they don't wish Gohan and Goten and Trunks to the planet where they're fighting Kid Buu, who is weaker than any version they fought for, like, 50 episodes or something.
Kid Buu is weaker than...
he's weaker than Super Buu. He's not weaker than Fat Buu, but he's weaker than Super Buu. He's weaker than, like, the Gohan fused Buu.
Sure.
Yeah, he's not... That's the thing people don't realize, but it's kind of a cool detail. Mm-hmm. I kind of like that he's actually not the strongest version of Buu, but he is the craziest and most wild.
Yeah, he's sadistic.
But if Gohan or Gotenks was there, they would have just annihilated him.
Crazy.
But Vegeta and Goku go, we can fight him.
Crazy.
And he just destroyed Earth.
Yeah, it's the one that I least it's the saga I least know about.
Yeah, Toriyama was done at that point.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it exists because there are these super cool iconic things from it, like fusion. Yep. I love fusion.
Fusion's dope.
I love that there's a useless transformation in Dragon Ball Z that only exists to look cool, which is Super Saiyan 3. And it's literally like story-wise, like they acknowledge how useless it is. And that it only worked because Gotenks was a magical fusion, and Goku was dead when he learned it. So it's not actually like feasible for a living body. I think that's kind of
that's interesting.
A neat detail.
That is a cool detail, yeah.
And it removes his eyebrows for some reason. So it's like an actual, I don't know, sometimes what I don't like about Dragon Ball transformations is that sometimes they're not actually like all that transformative. They're just recolors.
Reskins.
Yeah. I mean, their OCs do not steal.
Yeah.
Like Sonichu. So when there's actual like differences that make them look kind of scarier, it's like, oh, okay, it's a transformation.
Sure.
It's not just a hair color dye.
Right.
You know? So when Super Saiyan Blue, it can look pretty, but it's not really a thematically interesting transformation. There's nothing there.
I don't love it.
It's like emblematic of what I don't like about Super.
Yeah. If you like the color blue, I guess you're a fan of it.
I really like the Battle of Gods movie. It's not perfect, but it has a mix of Dragon Ball Z and original Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And
I like Battle of the Gods too.
At the time, I was like, "Oh, this is cool." It's like it's more funny than Dragon Ball Z ever was, but it also still has some of that cool action. And I would have loved for my friend Piccolo or Vegeta to do some more. Vegeta has a cool character moment, him defending Bulma.
Yeah, that was cool.
But it's still the Goku show. But it's the first time we saw these characters in a real serious moment with a god of destruction. And it opened or for the first time in like more than 15 years, I believe.
Yeah.
Because the show was done, Dragon Ball GT was done in 1996. And this movie came out in 2013. So I like that movie a lot. And then Revenge of F is bad.
That is bad.
Really bad movie. Really stiff, rigid action figure style art where the characters all are shiny.
Gohan looks really bad in it.
Gohan has a legendarily horrible design where he has a tracksuit, and despite the fact that he wasn't training after the Majin Buu arc and he had muscle mass in the Beerus movie.
He looks like a stick figure.
He looks like a stick figure.
Freaking amazing.
Bad hair.
Really bad hair, yeah.
Yeah, and he is One Punch Man by Frieza. Frieza punches him in his first form, and he gets knocked out cold and like nearly dies, but Piccolo saves him.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's that movie is bad. And then the Universe 6 arc, they do bring Piccolo, and I'm like, yes. And then Piccolo in the anime, he like has a really annoying fight with Frost, which is a Frieza clone, where he spends the whole time charging a Makanko Sappo. And then he does have the guy pinned with his arm. He wraps him up in his arm.
Yeah.
Guy poisons him and he gets knocked unconscious, and he wins by the guy being caught cheating. Vegeta says to Piccolo, "You're going to forfeit, right?" And then he stares at Piccolo kind of menacingly, and then Piccolo says, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that."
I remember that.
And it's like, what the fuck?
I remember that. That pissed me off.
It's so weird. It sucks. Because, like,
why do you get bitched by it? That really pissed me off.
Well, that's the thing. The cycle of abuse towards Piccolo for the past, like, 20 years before Dragon Ball Superhero was just insane. Like, and I've said this a million times, but in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, he interrupts Goku's fight with Broly to say, "Hey, I wish I could help, but I think I'd just get in the way." So not only is he a coward, but he is interrupting Goku to whine to him about it.
Right.
It's say what you will about Krillin, he hides. He doesn't.
That's true.
He doesn't announce, "Hey, just so you guys know, I can't help.
I'm a bitch.
Hey, I'm a pathetic weakling." Hey. And then in the manga, he legit asks Frost, who's in his final form, if he could go back to his earlier form. Because...
it's just...
What the
fuck? I blocked all this shit out of my head.
No, I remember when it's your favorite. When it's your favorite character, which I don't know if we've ever asked you who's your favorite character.
I mean, Goku's my favorite character, but Piccolo is like a really close second.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always been a Piccolo fan. I like his style.
Shows up to the movie.
Yeah.
Gets his ass kicked.
Yeah,
he looks cool for 30 seconds.
Yeah, he looks cool.
Saves Gohan.
No, I always fucked with his design language. I love. I just love how Toriyama I guess designed or created him as and he's changed over the years, Piccolo, his style.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite look is his, I think it must have been in the Z era when he wore the big shoulder, the big cape shoulder pad look. That look was sick.
Well, they used to jut out like crazy and kind of sharp looking almost.
Yeah, very sharpish. And then he would throw it off sometimes.
Yep. The weighted clothing.
Super weighted clothing. I really, that design's one of my favorite looks of him.
But the Universe 6 tournament, it did bring me back because they used my favorite character in a fighting context.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, my inner child.
You got me.
My inner child started going, okay, Piccolo's doing something. All right. Okay.
He's there.
He's there. He's at least not Chaozu. So.
Yeah, he's letting Vegeta bitch him you done with that sandwich? He's like, yeah, I'm done.
He would say that.
Yeah, he would have. That pisses me off.
Well, but to be clear, he only has to drink water. So
I'm sure he wouldn't eat a sandwich.
He wouldn't eat a sandwich.
You done with that?
Actually,
that's
some nice water you got there.
I'm kind of thirsty.
Well, I bought it myself, but
I guess I can give it to you.
I can give you a sip. Yeah. I think you'll give me all of it. Namek. And by the way, people calling him Namek sucks. Oh, it feels racist.
It is racist, actually. Yeah. If you really think about it, it is racist.
Hey, planet you're from, because someone said to me, if they said to me, hey, Earth.
Yeah.
I'd be like, fuck you.
Yeah, first of all, it's not my name.
Yeah. But after the Universe 6 arc, the Future Trunks arc, we're running long, so I won't go too into depth.
Sure.
The staff started to finally catch up from... so the Dragon Ball Super TV show came out after Revenge of F, and it came out a couple months after it.
Sure.
They had no production time. The staff was completely screwed. And they put out a few quality episodes, 2 or 3 episodes that had good on-model art, decent animation.
Sure.
And then episode 5 came out, and the show fell apart before the internet's eyes, and memes were shared, and the Toei animation was publicly embarrassed because the animation was so bad.
Yeah.
You've seen the memes.
Oh, yeah.
Goku looks terrible, and Beerus has a stick figure face at one point.
Yeah, characters with backwards arms.
Yeah,
and
it's really bad. And then some of it, we talked about this earlier, that some internet users will take screenshots of in-between frames and say, bruh, the animation on this is fucked. And it's
so bad.
It's motion frames where you're not even seeing them on your screen.
Right.
They're there for a split second.
Right.
Fractions of a fraction of a second. And then they're taking that as a screenshot and going, modern animation sucks. And it's
garbage.
If you did that for animation from the 90s or 80s or 30s, it would be the same principle.
Yeah, you'd catch the same
You'd catch the same things. Right. So, but something shifted where after the Revenge of F arc, and most of the Universe 6 arc, animation started to get better. And there were key episodes of the Future Trunks arc where they stepped up.
Mm-hmm.
They had amazing fight scenes sometimes, sometimes beautiful storyboards, and the animation team really worked hard. And the story for the Future Trunks arc is really interesting. There's a sense of mystery. And I would say it's one of my favorite arcs in the Dragon Ball series. Tournament of Power is not one of my favorite arcs story-wise, but it's, if you like dumb action, which sometimes I do, there's a million fights in it, and it continues the proud tradition of Dragon Ball using time in a strange way, time dilation, where Frieza says there's 5 minutes left, but there's 10 episodes.
Within the 5 minutes.
10, 20-minute episodes. And then this is a tournament of power that's supposed to take place over the course of 48 minutes, and it's like 50 episodes.
Right.
But, 50, 20-minute episodes. But, they're moving so fast that you can argue some of that is the reason for it, but there's no way to actually make it work.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's Dragon Ball.
It happens.
They're in another dimension.
Yeah, that too.
But there was a director, I believe their name was Namine.
Mm-hmm.
Their last name was Namine. Or Nakamine.
Mm-hmm.
Who was put in charge of basically getting the show back on track for that arc.
Oh,
and,
sure.
They applied a new filter that made line thickness sort of just like naturally more thick, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, pleasing.
Yeah, and worked really hard to get the show looking really nice again. They budgeted their time really well and had episodes that were more slice of life.
Mm-hmm.
They had like a 10-episode slice of life break where there were still cool action scenes in those episodes, but very brief. And there was a Dr. Slump crossover with Arale.
Nice.
You know her. There were several classic episodes during the Tournament of Power where characters who don't normally interact get a chance to interact, like Android 17 and Frieza.
Yeah.
They have a cool arc. And Vegeta and Master Roshi have an episode together that's insane, really good.
Yeah.
It's a really fun arc. And so the series did put out some really quality stuff too. But the first 3 arcs for me are really, if I'm being honest, just pretty bad.
Yeah.
So
it's a tough watch.
I do understand that there's some people who just think Super sucks. I don't think it just sucks.
No. There's stuff in it.
I think there's some pretty good stuff in it, but I would still say it's like a decent show.
Yeah.
That was a long way to say our histories with modern Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it's kind of the story of where Dragon Ball has kind of come and where we've arrived to now, which is Dragon Ball Daima.
Yeah. Overall, I feel like Dragon Ball has been getting better and better after some rough patches post Battle of Gods.
Yeah.
And I think that with Daima, so there was a long hiatus after Broly, and then again a hiatus after Superhero.
Yeah. And
people were talking like, is Dragon Ball Super going to come back?
Right.
Like, they did arcs in the manga that are actually, one is really good and the other is pretty good. But still,
people were talking about it.
Yeah, I love Dragon Ball, and I'll take pretty good Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And happily, if there is good resources behind it and a good team behind it, it could be even better than the manga.
Right. Absolutely.
So people were hopeful to see the don't tell me, the Moro arc and the Granola arc animated. And then people loved the Broly movie and the superhero movie enough they said, I'd love to see an adaptation of it for the show and have it be like even lengthened and have more character moments and stuff. Because the thing about the Broly movie is that like the first half of it is a lot of character stuff. And the second half is just fighting the whole time pretty much. It's kind of a weird thing with Dragon Ball is they don't really know how to pace stuff in modern Dragon Ball.
Right. Not the best with it anyway.
No. Because I feel like there's a way to pace it out where like there's a fight in the beginning, then there's talking, fight later, and there's talking. But instead what they do is a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Maybe one tiny skirmish, more fight, more talking, then like 30 minutes of action or something. And it's like, bruh.
Right.
Come on.
Timing is interesting, but yes.
Yeah. But so it was announced, or there were rumors going around about a web series. And the rumors were saying that, okay, the staff list for this is going to be absolutely incredible. Shintani, who did the character designs for the Broly movie, that director I told you about for Tournament of Power arc was coming to this.
Nice.
Nakatsuru, the original character designer for 90s Dragon Ball and GT, was coming back.
Which is dope.
Dope, yeah. Really cool and interesting. And he is actually, his style is completely like undiscernible from Toriyama for some reason. Like they have had like not just similar styles, but similar evolutions.
Which is so interesting.
Yeah. So when he did promo art for the series, people would think it was Toriyama because it was just so true to his vision. His vision.
Mm-hmm.
So him doing the designs for this was really exciting for people. But it was a dream animation staff list, and Toriyama was heavily involved. That's what and they say that for every project, but I do think that it's true for each project, and that it became more heavy with each project. You could tell.
Yeah, you could feel it too.
You could feel it. Battle of Gods was actually an idea that was started by Toei, and then he said, "Oh no, this is all wrong." Like, he got involved because of that horrible live action movie, and he said, "We got to make sure Dragon Ball's like good if it's going to come back."
Right.
So he got involved with it for that reason.
Movie.
I haven't seen it, but
I haven't seen either.
I have no interest in seeing it.
I don't either.
So what I would have wanted would be a continuation of Dragon Ball Super with these arcs that we know are good,
right?
And
manga
with an awesome staff list.
Mm-hmm.
But the web series, it was being like, there was talks that it was probably not going to be canon, probably going to be something just kind of fun for the 40th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
The stakes were, or not stakes, the hopes were low, but people they were kind of annoyed, but they were like, well, maybe they'll do the TV series right after this.
Right.
And then over time, the info became more like, hey, this is actually going to be like 20 episodes. People are really excited about it internally. And it's actually not canon. It's like, it is a canon story for the series.
Right.
Toriyama is really involved. And then it came out that it was called Dragon Ball Magic, and it was a story about Goku being turned into a kid again, and
the internet reacted.
His traveling companion would be Supreme Kai, nobody's favorite character.
Yeah,
a character who's well known for kind of just not sharing enough information in the moment, and then people getting fucked, like Piccolo getting turned to stone because Supreme Kai didn't think to warn them, hey, Dabura's spit turns you to stone.
Interesting.
So people don't like Supreme Kai. He's kind of a...
I actually was out of the loop of that.
Oh, yeah, no, he is well known for being a fuck up.
That is funny.
And so I reacted as well. And I was like, I am not a fan of this idea at all.
Yeah, I understand it.
I love little Goku. Mm-hmm. But I do not have a fascination with an adult man being turned into a child.
Right.
And I didn't like that with Dragon Ball GT.
Yep.
And I didn't understand why we were revisiting it with this. After Toriyama passed away, I looked at it with a fresh set of eyes and went, this might not be good, but I'm going to give it a fair shake.
Yeah. See what it's like.
And, worst case scenario is that, I don't like it, which I'll survive.
Right.
I've not liked Dragon Ball before, modern Dragon Ball. Mm-hmm. But there's something poetic about the last project that he's known to have worked on for Dragon Ball.
Sure.
Bringing it back to his roots. And the way he wrote the way he wrote Goku and Super, a lot of the projects.
Yeah.
It's clear that he loves young Goku. Like that's the version of Goku he likes the most.
I feel the same way.
I don't, but
yeah, I understand. I think a lot of people feel that way. I'm just Goku's spirit is youthful, so obviously I like his youthful self. But he carries it on as an adult as well, but it fits him as a kid more so than as an adult. But it's okay.
He grew up and he evolved, and to have him act like a child when he's an adult is really annoying.
Yeah.
But it makes sense if he's been turned into a child that he would, become more like his old self. Yeah. I can accept that.
Yeah, for sure.
So the trailers for the show didn't really offer much of excitement, or it was really interesting. They just kind of were they were keeping their cards close to their vest.
Yeah, to the vest, yeah.
And, but, I just stayed kind of stayed open to it.
Yeah.
And when that first episode aired, it aired in October of 2024, and we're in December right now. Mm-hmm. It's been 10 episodes so far.
Yeah.
There's 10 left, so I thought we could talk about it the halfway point of the season. And,
for sure.
Because the rumor is it's 20 episodes. Maybe it's a little more, maybe it's a little less.
Right.
But, and see how we're feeling about it.
Yeah, 20 episode series. So speaking of Daima and kind of how we feel about it, it was news to me that it was going to be a very condensed and short kind of mini series, and I'm actually excited about that. I think because a lot of my favorite animes are usually short series, mini series animes, and you can tell a good story within 26 episodes. Generally,
totally.
I've seen it time and time again. I mean, Bebop and a bunch of other shows like in that same sphere. 26 episode series,
even 13.
Even 13.
You can do a really great story or season in 13 episodes. I've seen tons of anime that do that too.
Yeah, it's great. So it being 20, I was like, "Yo, okay, that's dope." I think you could really fit a lot of really good stuff in a small time period, or a small, I guess, episode series length. So,
and this is going to be the first Dragon Ball project for TV where the entire thing is written out front to back before even a single episode comes out.
Okay, so it's done.
Yeah, they wrote it, they storyboarded it, they animated it. The entire series was finished, according to at least the producer. He was saying the entire series was done, minus voice recording, before even the first episode aired.
Which is great.
And so there was the schedule for this show. Like I said, it took 5 years to finish it, but they've been animating this for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, I had heard about it a year before the first trailer came out, and then the trailer came out and it said this will be coming out in exactly 1 year from now. So it's been at least 2 years of animation, and Dragon Ball has never had this much time to cook.
Yeah, which is great.
It sounds like Toriyama was heavily involved to the point where he was just like able to design mech, okay. He loves designing vehicles and ships.
I've noticed that.
Yeah,
I've noticed that.
And you can feel the love with all these characters and these environments and the various technology.
Yeah,
and I gotta say, I wasn't moved at first by this demon realm.
Yeah, me neither.
Over time, it's really grown on me quite a bit.
It's a different landscape for the. I was going to call them the Z Fighters, and then I was like, I really don't like actually calling them the Z Fighters.
Well, yeah, some people call them the Dragon Team, which is slightly better, I guess.
Yeah.
Z Warriors it plays into the problem of people thinking that Dragon Ball Z is the only cool part of the series.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
Goku's little friends.
Yeah, exactly. The little folks, if you will.
So there's 10 episodes. We're not going to go episode by episode.
No.
But brief summary of the show is that this takes place, instead of where Super is taking place, it takes place between the Majin Buu arc and Super.
Right.
So it's a midquel of a midquel, which is a midquel is a sequel to a story where the end of the story takes place far off in the future. So you're telling a new story between the ending of that original story.
Yep.
And I'm getting confused.
No, but I follow you.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying.
So it's in between those.
That also was weird to me because it's like, wow. So we know that they're not going to like reach the highest power level they've ever reached,
right.
And we know that nothing they do in this is going to change where they're at in Battle of Gods,
right?
But
it tragically ends.
There's something about a ceiling in terms of how high their power can go and stuff that makes me actually more interested. Where it's like, what's going to happen? Like,
yeah, it makes it more dangerous and more like sketchy. Like, who will they encounter that's going to really test them? Because they can be easily tested.
Yeah, and so it begins in the demon realm, and we get to see these guys watching the Majin Buu arc. Goma and Degasu. Goma is a really interesting design. He's a little short imp of a demon, and Degasu is like a very tall Supreme Kai looking character, or Kaioshin if you prefer.
Yeah.
But they through Dr. Arensu, who is a beautiful Kaioshin Glind. The Kaioshin character is a Glind. That was cool to find out.
Oh, yeah, Glind, yeah.
But through meddling by her, or not meddling, but her planting the seeds and manipulating them, they get scared enough where they're like, we got to do something about these guys who defeated Majin Buu, and they're super powerful. They shoot energy blasts. What the fuck can we do to nerf them? And they wish for them to be kids because they can't use the Dragon Balls to kill them.
Right.
So they say, well, let's just wish them to be kids. That way they'll be harmless.
Right.
So Goku gets recruited by this guy Glorio, who's kind of a suave, cool-looking, gloomy, mysterious, kind of a moody, I think the
brooding man.
Yeah, and they go to the Demon Realm. Him and Supreme Kai, because there's not enough room for anyone else. Right. Sure. And then they meet a cast of characters like Pansy.
Yep,
and they, there's all sorts of conspiracies going on. There's multiple villains in this show, which I'm really liking. And each week, new adventures occur, thousands of jabs and little jokes. That's like what the subtitles say for the opening.
Yes.
Here comes a new story.
I think this kind of returned to form of kind of the original style of Dragon Ball being more adventure-based.
Adventure, yes.
Which I actually really enjoy. Adds a layer of... in adventure stories, you can do a lot of different genres within it. You're getting more comedy and adventure. You're getting more knowledge of characters and stuff like that. Getting to know a lot of the characters that are being introduced, as well as kind of just getting to hang out with your old friends, I guess, which would be Goku and the rest of the gang that comes on later on. But more so with Goku and his new tag team of friends that he finds in the Demon Realm and things like that. So I really enjoy where they're going with it story wise. I think it's a great direction. I think it's good. It makes it fun. It's a fun watch because of that.
I really, so the overall premise, this is not what I wanted from a new Dragon Ball series.
I feel you, because I wouldn't have thought to even ask for something like this.
Yes. So I with that said, I really like this story. I think that it's really interesting.
Right.
I think that the way the show is building on the lore can be a bit laborious. But I overall love the fact that it feels like an RPG. Like there's this whole, what's it called when there's a group in an RPG?
A party.
Guild.
This is my party. The party.
Yeah, the party. Yeah. And so we've got this magic guy, Glorio.
Yep.
We've got sort of a
tech, well, I'm probably jumping characters, but I was thinking of Pansy as kind of like the technician character.
And Goku is just the strong guy.
Yeah.
And I love that everyone has a useful moment so far. Everyone has their moment to shine, including Kaioshin. Like this show is about him too. And everyone has an arc too.
Yeah.
Like Glorio, we'll talk about characters later. But so for the story, there's been much talk online about the pacing. And I've been defensive of the show and saying that people are, when you criticize an episodic show every week, sometimes you'll jump the gun and look foolish later when you complain about nothing happened this week. We saw that happen with the show Mad Men, where there was the season 6, which is one of the best seasons of the show, in my opinion. And I saw people trash it week after week. And then the season finale for that season aired. And then I saw a lot of the people who were trashing it say, oh, that season finale was incredible. It makes me really like the rest of the season.
Right.
And it's like, oh, I guess they knew what they were doing. And it all actually added up to something.
Yeah, can you believe it?
Yeah, it's hard to believe. It's almost like you got to reserve judgment sometimes when you're watching something that's meant to be taken as a whole.
Right.
Ugh.
Patience.
Patience is a virtue. With that said, I would say that there are moments in this show where the pacing is just a little bit, there's bloat in the show.
Yeah.
I think that it maybe was not written to be 20 episodes and then they kind of had to make it 20 episodes for some reason. That's my conspiracy theory.
A little more condensed.
Yeah, because there's stuff they could cut.
Yeah.
There's a few too many scenes of people saying, hey, we should test to see if you're strong enough, like to Goku.
Sure.
Like, the king is like, wow, they defeated Majin Buu. I guess they're probably going to be able to defeat the Tamagami. Right. And he's like, I still want to see how strong you are. Fight my guards.
A lot of tests.
Yeah, a lot of tests. A lot of skirmishes, spars, which are, I rewatched most of the series today, actually.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I rewatched episodes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Nice. Okay.
And because I'll be honest with you, I was kind of worried. Like, I wanted to watch them with as critical of an eye as possible, and I said I'd skip over anything I didn't like.
Yeah.
And I was like dreading certain scenes, like Goku versus Glorio. I thought maybe now in the light of day, that scene, which really is kind of in the midst of a gag with the Minotaur. I thought I wouldn't like that episode, and I was going to think it was filler, but it was like, oh no, this is really charming.
Yeah.
The whole show is so charming that
very charming.
There's only 2 episodes I don't like so far.
Yeah. And I feel you on that. Honestly, though, I do want to rag a little bit on episode 6 because there was like, so when we were watching the show kind of like with the airings, there was like a lot of hype and talk about, episode 6, you gotta, is this the best episode of Daima?
Leakers.
Leaker people are like, yo, this is something incredible coming. And I was like, I hadn't seen the episode. I think you had, actually, because you had Crunchyroll at the time, or before I did. And you're like, yeah, you'll see it, and there's some stuff in there. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch
I think before it aired, I was saying, I don't know, these credible guys, totally not Mark, Anime AJ, T. Halliams, I think is how you pronounce their username.
Yeah.
They're 3 guys that seem to have level heads on their shoulders.
Sure.
And they do get like leaked info to them, but they don't usually blurt it out. There was only one time in 2019 when there was a huge rumor that Dragon Ball Super was going to come back. And there may have been some truth to it, like people were working on stuff.
Yeah.
It just didn't come to fruition. But Anime AJ did blurt too much about that, and then it didn't happen. So people lost trust in him.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah.
And Geeked them too.
Oh, Geeked them.
You're talking about him.
Yeah.
Guys, I got to tell you, this next episode 6 is going to be awesome, Jala.
Yeah, you're gonna see. You're gonna get your mind blown. No, I saw
my voice sounds sore. His voice always sounds sore.
It's like a sore voice. Yeah. No, I think so. There's a lot of hype, and I'm like, all right, let's see what this actually is. I finally got the chance to watch the ep, and I thought the episode was good.
And then this is the episode I mentioned with the Minotaur.
Yeah, with the Minotaur. Yeah, so this is the episode with the Minotaur. So that's like a funny gag. Like the character comes out like looking like some strongman character, and
they're staying in a cave. They're trying to get to the first Tamagami, but they have to stop there for the night after a long day. And,
it's like a sidebar.
And they do build tension with this character who's got tons of muscles, and then. Commercial break happens, comes back, and Goku says, "Oh, it's just a cow." And he says, "Don't scare me like that. You're just a cow." And the guy's like, "I'm not a cow. I'm walking on 2 legs and I'm talking."
The comedy is funny. The comedy in this episode is really great.
Yeah. And I was worried that I wouldn't like it. But.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was good. But the fight between Goku and Glorio, I thought was a fun fight, but I wasn't impressed by it. Honestly, I thought it was a fine fight. But the build up, this is where the issue. If nobody had said anything and it's just an episode, I'd be like, oh yeah, it was kind of fun. Like him, like kind of. I didn't know this guy Glorio could even had any fighting prowess. This is cool.
Yeah, I love the scene, honestly.
Yeah, I think the scene is good, but I think the news being out there like this was like some second. I don't know. Just the way that it was pumped, like some huge thing. And then when I saw it, I was like, this is cool.
It's strange.
Yeah.
Someone had a source they trusted that said, trust me, this episode, we worked on it. It's awesome.
Bro, you're going to love this shit.
And then like, I agree with you. No, I agree that it got hyped. And then to the point where these 3 guys who I don't want to say I trust them because I don't trust any content creator anymore. Yeah. But I feel like, I'm like, okay, if they say it's going to be pretty good, then I'm sort of interested. I'm intrigued.
And honestly, I think their video was kind of, at least from what I thought, was sounding like they were questioning everybody else, questioning that it was the best episode. Like, they were like, is this really the best? Like, that's kind of the tone I thought.
Well, the subject for that video, they made it that before the episode came out.
Right. Oh, sure.
Because the thing is everyone was talking about how word was that there's going to be super hype animation in this episode.
Okay.
So it was like a foregone conclusion that it was going to be. Did Daima just drop their best anime or something like that?
Yeah, their best episode.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like putting the cart before the carrot. Is that the phrase?
And by the way, they weren't the only ones that.
No.
There's a bunch of other people.
Yeah, a bunch of people were really, I guess, getting their hopes up or something. It's a cool scene in terms of like character where Glorio has been being sort of annoyed at Goku mispronouncing his name for a long time. Goliro, you know,
and, it's a funny gag, yeah.
And he's not even saying he can beat Goku. By the way, I rewatched it. He's saying, "I think I can put up a good fight." You know, he's like, "I don't like that you think I can't even beat this Minotaur. Like, you want to take me?" And Goku's like, "Come on, be serious."
Right, like, who are you?
And so it's I really like the scene. I think it's like basically Glorio is starting to realize, holy crap, this guy is like the real deal. And he's like being converted to the Church of Goku. And so I think if the hype hadn't happened, you and I would be talking about that episode as a highlight for the first 10
Yeah, because I would be like, wow, I was really surprised that Glorio like had any like skill.
And then his powers are awesome when he's like, and I do love when Goku says, "That looks cool. What's that?" And he goes, like
just mid-fight, by the way.
Yeah. And
that's fun.
And Glorio says, "It's magic." And I just love that line for some reason. It's magic.
That's cool.
Just, you know, he has a whip essentially of ki. And Goku looks intimidated by it kind of, but then he turns on the juice and embarrasses the guy, and he uses one arm for a lot of the fight, which is cool.
He was toying with him, and I think that also took like the if there was any tension. Well, for me, for that fight, it was kind of gone because Goku's kind of playing around.
Well, I like it because Supreme Kai interrupts and implores with Goku to get serious, because I do love the tension between Supreme Kai and Glorio, because he knows. It's like he can smell that his sister's working with him.
Yeah, just doesn't want to say.
It's neat tension where he's just staring at him. Like when Glorio plants the idea that you guys should fight the Tamagamis and get the Dragon Balls, he does it subtly, but he knows that Goku wants to face strong guys, so he's doing it intentionally. Yeah. And they have a stare down where Supreme Kai's like, "What's your deal?" They don't say any words, but like Supreme Kai does not trust this guy.
No.
What I love about this series is that Glorio, his arc is like learning to actually like Goku and Pansy and Supreme Kai.
Yeah, because this character's being brought along. He has to be a part of this party. And even though he's not, you find out that he's not really for them.
He's a double agent. He's working with Aransu, and he's working with the king.
These characters often get converted over because they spend so much time with the other side. They find like a love, and they're like, you know what? I think he's gonna be a Goku fan.
I think he's getting there, but there's episodes where people go, "Ugh, why did this happen? This episode was so lame. You know, someone stole a Dragon Ball," and I do agree that like. The come down from Goku fighting the Tamagami, which is probably one of the best scenes in Dragon Ball history.
I mean, the animation,
the choreography, the storyboard, even just the coloring, like, and the fact that there's a hazy, glowy vibe around this desert where they're fighting, and that there's like a ruined city around them, or like jagged rock that Goku uses as part of, you know, his landscape that he runs along. It's great.
No, it's amazing.
But so to go from that episode to just a regular old Daima episode was always going to be tough. But the fact that the next episode is back to like traditional Dragon Ball adventures where someone steals the Dragon Ball, and you know,
that was a little corny.
It was tough. And then the second half was finally about Vegeta, Piccolo, Bulma, and Hydas. who's like a funny character, funny gag.
Yeah, you're talking about the guy that's like driving the...
Yeah, who has the curly Q on top.
He is very funny, actually. I'll give them that character just kind of being like this dopey...
Well, he's a fish out of water. And it's crazy to have fish out of water characters with Goku and his friends, because usually it's presented as like serious. Like in the Majin Buu arc, Kaioshin or Supreme Kai was like a fish out of water. He's like, these guys are this strong? What the fuck?
Right.
But it's presented as like a serious thing.
Yeah.
But so when this show was announced, I know I was a little nervous about the fact that there were so many new characters being created. And when you have a show that's been on for this long, I think the tendency for the fan base is to go, but we have so many characters that we would rather spend time with, or we would rather just spend time with Goku and Vegeta and Piccolo. And the tendency was to just say they have so much story that like we don't need these new characters.
Right.
But the truth is that in a long-running series, new characters are like eating your vegetables. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's really good for you. Yeah. And you feel like, I don't want to eat vegetables. But then you try them and you're like, oh, wow, I do feel better after eating these. And for creative writing, new characters, like, they actually help tell the story of your other characters, the originals, the cast as well. Right, absolutely. So for this show, these new characters have brought a ton of storytelling potential, and they've really brightened up Goku, the roster, and seeing, if it's so fresh to see Vegeta and Piccolo, who were never in the gag, like Vegeta wasn't in Dragon Ball. But Piccolo never got to be in gag Dragon Ball. That's true. He showed up when the series was getting more and more serious and leaning towards Z. Yeah, absolutely. So it's so cool to see them in this environment, and I'm so excited for the next 10 episodes because the gang they're all together now. Yeah, they are. Can I give you a piece? I feel bittersweet about us being halfway through. Sure. I don't know. I think I'm like, I'm getting anxious, I think. Me too. Because, the last episode gave me a little bit of hope, though. Same here. We had a talk previously about how we feel that the true villain of this Daima series actually isn't going to be... What's the character's name? Goma. So there's 3 villains right now. Goma. Yeah, Goma. Actually 4 maybe. So Goma, Degasu. Yep. Aransu. Yep. Yeah, Aransu, yeah. And the 4th one would be... Maybe this bluish character. Oh, he's more of an underling. I would say Neva, who's the Namekian. Yes, Neva. Yeah. Yeah, yes. Oh, I forget. Yeah, Neva. Yeah, Neva. And so there's something about Neva... In the early couple episodes, the power that Neva has. And yet he presents as a feeble, stinky old man. Yeah, he does this this Roshi thing, kind of. Not very Roshi, because Roshi will show off when he wants to show off. But he's doing this feeble old man, like, oh, nobody's worried about me. Like, I'm just here to do what I'm told. Like, and then he just has this immense power to, gather the Dragon Balls, and they were already turned to stone because they had been used recently, and he gathered them with one hand. Yeah, one hand gathered. And then turned them to not stone and made them able to grant wishes again. The Earth's Dragon Balls. Yeah, not even his, originals. No. It's so fucking weird. And when they are at the lookout and they see that Dende is a baby and they kidnap him, he offers the suggestion that they should probably kill him. Or rather, they said, should we kill him? And he says, yeah, pretty much. He's just like, yeah, sure. Why not? He's just trying to act like anyway. It's weird because he's a Namekian and he's like, wow, I haven't seen a Namekian in thousands of years. Yeah, kill him. And he goes, yeah, kill him. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? I'm so intrigued by that character turning into something really, really real. It would be so cool. And I really want Goma to actually not be the villain. I also do it. So I think the thing about this show that's interesting is there's several different types of evil being presented. Goma is like corporate greed evil.
Yep.
He loves taxing the people.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, the fact that Neva is like happy to take these years that they're gathering from the townsfolk, they're stealing their lifespan.
Right.
He's okay with that. He's like, yeah, go ahead, give me these. I don't want to die, so
more life.
Yeah, more. And he's already anyway. But then so there's corporate greed.
Yep.
There's scientific greed, where Arensu is a mad scientist.
Yep. In Bobity's form, basically.
Yeah.
Really trying to be a Bobbity.
Well, Bobbity is a wizard.
That's right. Bobity's not really even, But somebody made Boo for him.
Yeah. Or Bibbidi. Bibbidy's Bobity's dad.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yes. It made it for his dad. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, but there's those two forms. Oh, don't hit the desk.
Very good.
Those two forms of evil. And then Neva is like, what's the word? He's
menacing. He's not even menacing because he's so busy playing this like feeble character.
Yeah, it's like deceptive evil or like
wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, that type of evil.
That's what he is.
Yeah, and Degasu is just he's part of that. So yeah, 3 types of evil.
Yeah,
not 4.
Yeah, wolf in sheep's clothing is Neva, and I'm just. So since we brought that up as him being like the true evil of the show, hopefully,
I'd love that.
Yeah, like
I was actually worried that he was actually not going to appear again.
This is what I'm saying, and that's why I was like, I was nervous. I was like, man, I thought we came up with a really dope idea, like. Because it'd be like maybe a recreation of like the King Piccolo era where like this big bad Namekian character is like becomes like the new, recreated, villain again. And,
it's a 40th anniversary celebration of Dragon Ball in all its forms.
Yeah. So. And we've noticed hints of the past in these modern new characters. Pansy being one of them. I had the idea that Pansy kind of fashions herself closely to like a Bulma or even a Chi-Chi.
She's both.
Yeah. The Bulma Chi-Chi hybrid. Because of the king.
She's a princess.
She's a princess character. This is a Chi-Chi style, and the tech obsessed, knowledgeable is the Bulma piece. Yeah. So there's these nods, and I'm more interested in the sinisterness of what Neva's bringing to the table, and I think we finally got to see him. At the end of the last episode, the 10th episode, midpoint.
They're getting ready to go to the second Tamagami, and he comes out of nowhere and is walking towards them and has a creepy laugh. And part of me is wondering about that because this show has done several times. They'll have something happen at the end of an episode, and it'll turn out to be not that serious. And so the internet got really pissed off about Majin Ku.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. So I was going to say that.
So that was concerning for me as well. So that episode after the Tamagami fight. So the Tamagami are these gigantic warriors who have the Dragon Balls in their chest or in their armor. Yeah. And you have to beat them in order to get the Dragon Ball. And there's 3 Dragon Balls in the Demon Realm. And it's been this quest for Goku to face these guys. And it took 8 episodes, and they built up to it pretty well. But so there was this point in the story where I was like, there was a turning point where it could either be really perfectly built up and the show knew what they were doing, or it would be kind of disappointing. And I think it was like around episode 7 where it's like, okay, if they keep doing like more walking around aimlessly and keep doing the Goliro joke and keep doing, Goku being a dirty boy joke, like him,
I have to go poo.
I have to poop and I skip showers, which by the way, skipping one shower is okay. Yeah, I don't know why the internet went nuts about that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird being weird.
And then of course he didn't wash his hands. There's no like fountain.
They're in a desert.
Yeah, I'm confused about some of the jokes in this show.
Right.
But anyway, there was a turning point where it was like the next turn they make could ruin the show if they're not careful.
Right.
And then the Tamagami fight happened, and I was like, holy shit. they built up to this so awesomely, and I just didn't like episode 3 because it was kind of boring. And like Goku fighting nameless nobodies is it's not interesting. These guys are strong enough to destroy planets now.
Yeah, do not need it.
So like that's why I don't like episode 3, because it's just, nothing is really happening. They're just kind of wandering around talking, and then Goku is at a bar and he's trying to eat a burger, and then he like fights some nameless idiots who destroy or take their ship.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there's another episode where he's like also fighting some randoms, but
it's that's where I get bored, because
like you fighting.
Yeah, you can tell a story with low stakes with Dragon Ball, but you have to at least give some element of like danger, like maybe the other people are in danger, like Glorio or Pansy or whatever.
Right.
But there's just nothing going on in that 3rd episode that interests me. And that made me so worried for the show.
You're like, oh man.
And so the Tamagami fight, we love that fight like crazy. We watched it before recording this because I'm obsessed with it. And, there's a scene where Goku is, he flips over the Tamagami, then like flies through its legs, goes between 2 giant cliffs, uses the power pole to turn himself around, does a flip. I mean, they did not have to cook this much. Like if you look at these fights on paper, they're not really that interesting or cool. Like
there's not a lot going on.
No, but the story behind it, and then the fact that they cooked, and these animators, these genius animators who are lunatics and just like super passionate about their craft, they were able to just like, show their love for Dragon Ball and like do a dream fight sequence.
I mean, shout out to the choreography.
Yeah.
The choreography couldn't be any better. No. I swear there's not a better choreographed fight scene in Dragon Ball period than that.
I agree. It's nuts, and it makes me excited because they're not going to like use up all their power, so to speak, on the 8th episode.
No, it doesn't make sense.
But even for like the gag fights, like they're still putting in more resources for that than some serious fights in previous, Dragon Ball Super episodes, and then even movies.
Yeah,
like, it looks better than most of Resurrection F's fights. So just crazy.
Miles,
they've become so much less stiff. These fights,
very fluid, very body movement oriented, very contortionist.
Character personality is conveyed. Like Goku, he gets serious, and it's so cool to see him go from being excited about the Dragon Ball to then getting an a intense glare before they start fighting. And
you know what just hit me? Goku's fighting style in that, because you said very personal, it's very personalized or whatever you're mentioning, like the stuff. That choreography was very monkey.
Yeah, he's monkeying around.
A lot of flips.
Climbing, flipping.
Yeah, like, it's just great that they really were able to incorporate that energy.
Yeah, and then he's using the power pole, and when he destroys the guy's hammer... Oh, and by the way, what gets my dopamine rush going and what gets me so hyped is that Goku is flying towards him, and the guy does the Thor move where he pulls the hammer back towards him. And I'm like, oh shit, that's about to hit Goku.
Yep.
And Goku notices and dodges right in time and then lands on top of it. That's so cool. Like, because you wouldn't even be mad at Goku for getting hit by it if it's being drawn back against his, he doesn't even notice it. But he's so locked in that he's like, it doesn't get past him, and he actually uses it to his advantage.
Right.
So cool. Anyway, so what got me worried was that I thought that the show was now at this level moving forward. And the episode that followed that was not the best.
No.
That's the one where they stole a Dragon Ball, these nameless thieves. One's a werewolf. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't a terrible episode, by the way. But to come down from... episode 8 to that just was nerve-wracking, because it's like, is there going to be more low stakes weird stuff that doesn't really amount to much?
Yeah.
The coolest part about that episode is Pansy and Glorio had a moment where they fist bumped, and it's like, oh, this guy really does like these people now that he used to be getting annoyed at. Like he called Pansy girl at one point, like, girl, you better get going. But he's genuinely like, against his wishes, he's, forming a bond with them.
Yeah, for sure.
And then in the most recent episode, he was genuinely scared for Goku and Pansy that they almost got eaten by a gigantic sea monster, and he was super happy that they were back. So he's changed a lot. I mean, if you watch the earlier episodes, he's just a crabby, he's just doing a job.
He's getting sucked in, man.
Yeah, and that's one of the best things about watching Dragon Ball is that captivating feeling of Goku making a new friend. Mm-hmm. And he made a new friend from the Tamagami. I did not expect that, but the Tamagami is like, I like you. You're a fair fighter.
Yeah, Goku gets like a lot of like respect, bro. Like a lot of respect, bro.
And Goku, he's just got no thoughts in his head. He's like, okay, thanks.
Yeah,
thanks, man. And I love that when they're leaving, the Tamagami is doing a Kamehameha practice. He's going, oh, yeah, and then he waves goodbye to them.
That's cute.
Wishes them luck on their journey. It's like, God, this show is so positive.
Yeah,
and such good vibes. But at the end of that second most recent episode, so there's this plot going on where Aransu is trying to create a Majin, and it turns out that she was on the battlefield when Vegeta fought Majin Buu.
Yep.
And took some of Majin Buu's essence and put it in a jar, or not jar, but a flask. And there's part of me that wants to not like this, but then it's like, this has always been how Toriyama tells stories.
Sure.
Like, hey, remember that last arc? Turns out this person was there. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of lame, but it's kind of how Dragon Ball always was. So it gives me the feels where it's like, okay, this is Dragon Ball.
Yeah, this fits with that.
This is Toriyama. He likes doing that. Where the previous arc has the new villain secretly involved. And it changes how you view that scene.
Right.
But so she meets this witch, or she has this witch working for her, who it turns out was the person who created Majin Buu. Mm-hmm. I don't mind that.
I don't think it's here nor there. I mean, who cares?
It's fine. There was talk of, in previous interviews, Toriyama said that Buu existed since time immemorial.
Interesting. Okay.
He changes his mind a lot.
Right.
And he talks a lot in interviews, or he talked a lot in interviews, rest in peace.
Right.
And sometimes he'd say stuff that was like, please no. Please. That's like, he would say that Babidi was Bibidi's clone. But in the entire Dragon Ball Z series, Babidi would say, my papa, my daddy.
Oh, interesting.
And he was his son. And it made it more interesting that it was the son, trying to carry on the father's legacy.
Right. And I could see that.
Yeah. But he's like, oh, it's a clone, bro. And it's like, dude, you didn't say that in the original. I don't like this.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
And it's like when J.K. Rowling says, hey, this character's gay. This character is, this character's black. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you didn't say that in the book. It doesn't really change the plot at all. What are you doing?
Right. This is how I feel.
Why didn't you, include it in the book?
Right.
And it's like, well,
that's how I feel today.
That's how I feel today, yeah. And Hermione was black, and it's like, in the book, it's like her white skin.
I always hear that, by the way. They're like, oh, because they talk about the curly hair, so she's a black girl. It's like, okay. I mean, cool. Whatever you want. Yeah, it's like, I don't think it matters either way, but
I'm not a Harry Potter fan.
Yeah.
So I can't claim that I know that she was meant to be white.
Yeah,
I just
my wife would know.
Okay, we'll talk to her later.
Yeah.
Al, wake up.
Right.
Al. So at the end of the episode, Majin Ku is created with a Saibai-Men seed, or just Saibai-Men DNA.
Yeah.
And
He's
Majin
really giving Saibai-Men.
Yeah, and Majin Buu's DNA and or essence, and then her spit, so that she can control him easier.
Sure.
And boy, oh boy, the reaction to this thing was I've never seen so much anger about like a Dragon Ball design. People hated this motherfucker.
So I love that you're just in the trenches with it.
I need to stop. No, there is legitimately, there's one guy who is posting every week, posts the most brain dead, like reactionary, super annoying criticisms possible.
Sure.
Well, why doesn't Goku just teleport? Well, and then they'll find out one piece of information and go, well, I assume this means this. Why? And then like next week, the thing that they predicted was totally wrong, and they do another stupid prediction that's harebrained, and you know what I mean, like jumping to conclusions.
One of those type of guys.
One of those things where it's like, well, this is true, so that means that this other thing can't possibly be true, and it's like, that's wrong. Yeah. It doesn't.
Two things can be true.
Two things can be true at once. Yeah. So very annoying. But I was not really a fan of Majin Ku's design, but I also said, well, let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, the fight between him and Tamagami 1, which I actually really liked that plot idea where it was like, go fight Tamagami 1 right now.
Yeah.
I honestly thought he was going to win or kill him even. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I was thinking like, oh, yo.
Things are going to get serious.
Mm-hmm.
And, he fights Tamagami 1 and,
the most flamboyant way.
even though his fighting style is goofy,
Mm-hmm.
I like it a lot because it reminds me of Majin Buu or Kid Buu.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's also like, it's just funny and it gives him a personality. And the fact that he says, I quit. Please excuse me. And that
I can't win.
the Tamagamis are so polite and such martial arts guys that they're like, you can quit at any time.
Right.
That's so funny.
I'm not going to kill you.
Yeah, they're not going to kill you unless you like just never give up. And
Right.
it's like, sorry, man.
Right.
You died of exhaustion.
Very martial arts. By the way.
Very martial arts and honor. And
Mm-hmm.
but I love that he just goes running back to Arensu. He's like, sorry, I'm pretty tough, but they're stronger. And she actually says to him, I'm so disappointed.
She should be disappointed.
It's hilarious.
It was a ridiculous fight he tried to have with the Tamagami.
I will say,
Mm-hmm.
I felt tension in that fight. I'm
Did
not
you?
kidding. Yeah, because I thought the tide would turn at some point.
Oh, like he
And-
would turn it on.
Yeah, I thought that something would
It
happen.
did feel like that.
But
It did
no.
feel like that. He never did.
No, he never did. But it would have been cool if he did. But I was genuinely like worried for the Tamagami just because they're so likable for some reason.
Yeah, he was doing some goofy stuff, and at first it threw me off, but then like he kept coming at them with the goofy style, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is just like almost like a drunken fist style, if you really think about it. If
Yeah.
you're thinking from a martial arts standpoint, it's like just doing like weird to get, but like you're fighting like a armored rope, like a weird, like that style. I don't know if it would work against something like that, but
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with him because he's like talking about, I'm pretty strong and I could help you with shopping if you like what the hell?
yeah, that was a weird thing. I can
this is
help you with
Toriyama.
shopping. This is a very comedic character.
It's a gag character, but it makes me wonder what Arensu's role in the future of the story is. If there is a main villain that's going to pop up in the next few episodes.
Yeah, maybe they just like you don't got it. You don't got the main villain, so you just have to rock with this guy.
That's one of the main things I'm excited about for this is we still don't know who's going to wind up being the main villain, and there's something interesting with Goma is that he seemed kind of hesitant to hurt Dende and didn't want to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought of the Dragon Ball thing afterward, but there's that scene where one of his orderlies is reading to Dende and he's like, you call that reading? You got to do more voices and we got to make sure he's happy and grows
I
up.
remember that part.
Yeah, he grows up happy so he can make us Dragon Balls. But he seems to not actually hurt anybody.
He's not
He's
really
just
a bad
greedy.
guy,
Like
yeah.
he the taxing thing. Okay. He is taking people's lifespan, so I guess he's still a villain, but
Sure, he's a villain. It's just that he's not the big bad.
yeah, I like you said, we want it to be Neva because
He was so dope.
I can't remember a Dragon Ball villain that's like this doddering old, pretending to be harmless, and then he turns out to be just pure evil.
Yeah.
It would be so cool. And Piccolo would be involved, because he's like,
Yeah, he's like
he's a Namekian,
yeah.
I know I already mentioned this, but I love people reacting to stuff like when Vegeta says, that's Kakarot, and then Hypus goes, no, that's Goku. And then Bulma, who doesn't really acknowledge this before, but she goes, that's Goku's other name. Kakarot's Goku. He has two names? I guess I don't really care.
I guess I don't really care. No, the character is very funny.
But I like that when Goku introduced himself to Pansy and she says her name, he's like, that's a weird name. She goes, well, what's your name? And he goes, my name's Goku. She says, that's weird. And he goes, my other name's Kakarot.
She said that's also weird.
She says, those are both weird. And he goes, you think so? And he laughs.
Yeah, that's a funny one. That's a funny kid kind of exchange.
I just love that they're acknowledging how weird it is that Vegeta calls Goku Kakarot.
Yes, yeah, it's true.
It's still weird.
Also a
like
weird name.
He's like not calling him by his preferred name, and then Goku.
That's so Vegeta though.
I know, and Goku never corrects him. He's just like, well, you can call me.
He's very, Vegeta's a very traditional man, as you know.
He sure is. He sure is.
Like a true traditional man.
I like that Supreme Kai dislikes bugs because he is now canonically from a tree. So, bugs destroy trees,
Yeah,
termite.
weird, as weird as that is, but yeah.
Termites. I'm excited for the bugs and their little tools the fact that they're tools for fusion and healing.
Yeah, he took one of them in one of the episodes.
Yeah, just because he was hungry. Oh,
endurance one, I think.
So one of the biggest weaknesses of the show is that they seem to only have a few gags and then are repeating them ad nauseum. Yeah, and that's actually worse for me than the pacing. I like the fact that things are building and watching the way I did today, back to back to back. Fun. Yeah, really, I thought so. Really easy to watch.
Yeah, I could see that.
And it's been fun to watch week after week. But when you keep hearing Goliro and you keep hearing I'm hungry. Like, shut up. Like, Goku keeps talking about eating. It's so
You're right. Annoying. They have brought up the food thing didn't used to bother me as much. Like,
it's every episode.
But now he does speak about it every time. It's almost like we're playing a video game where you have to keep feeding the character.
I guess you're right.
And it's like, I guess he's hungry. I guess we gotta feed him again.
And like, after he just had a big fight with Tamagami, I get it. You know, he probably worked up an appetite.
The guy's like, you had breakfast like a few hours ago.
No, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. And then, of course, in real life, we eat 3 meals a day. So it's like,
it makes sense.
It makes sense. But it's like in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, they would eat. Goku loved food, but he didn't constantly talk about it.
Yeah, they would have like a scene where he would like go in.
Chow down.
And it's like, that's dope.
So I get really fucking frustrated about it because it's so annoying.
I understand.
You know, we talked about the line where Pansy says, I can't believe you're grown up and have kids. And he says, I wasn't really involved. Yeah. And so there's these little lines in Super that make me wish it never came back. Like Goku saying he never kissed Chi-Chi.
By the way, I think I saw a clip of him kissing her too.
That's filler though.
Oh, it was filler.
That's filler. Like when he kisses her in the Cell Saga. It's off screen.
I don't even know when it was.
It's off screen and it's filler, and only the English dub has a kiss sound.
I knew it.
Dude, the dub adds so much shit. I know it's so annoying. That's why I hate on it, because they try to make Goku like a traditional father. Like, yeah. And he's like, in the Buu saga, there's this scene where they come back to the lookout after beating Kid Buu, and they add a ton of dialogue when it was originally quiet for most of the scene. And they have Goku say, yeah, I'm back, Chi-Chi. Don't worry. I love you. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
Bullshit.
And then there's a scene where Trunks runs up to Vegeta and grabs his hand, and then Vegeta off screen says, yes, son.
Thanks.
Yes, son.
Yes, son. Yes.
And it's just, they added so much dialogue in the dub. Once you notice it, you'll never unnotice it.
Sure.
As soon as a character's off screen, and if someone isn't talking, they'll be talking. They'll be
slip
yapping.
Something in there.
It's called the yapping version of Dragon Ball Z. Just constant yapping.
The yap.
So, but overall, I'm optimistic. But I will say that the dip from the Tamagami episode to now, even though this week's episode has been fun, like I love the scene where Goku destroys the Gendarmerie planes and he rescues Pansy
from the fish thing.
Just
actually, it's a Kraken.
Yeah, Kraken. That's right. It's not Sea Monster.
Yeah.
The episode before it was so bad that my confidence really got shook pretty bad. Like Vegeta. People were like, oh, Vegeta really shines in this episode. How? He's just fighting random idiots.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
He's not shining. And also, by the way, the biggest animation fail in the series is Vegeta fighting those random idiots, because during some key scenes, they literally used adult Vegeta's design. Like, he looks like adult Vegeta in the scene.
You know what's funny? Because adult Vegeta is short.
Right. It's hard to make.
So now it just like looks like it's like a faraway shot. Oh, this is regular Vegeta fighting.
No, there's some shots where it's like Uncanny Valley, where it's like he looks like a little adult, like baby Vegeta.
It's weird.
So weird.
Uncanny Valley.
It's bizarre. And then Piccolo punches one, nameless mook, and great. That's cool. That's Piccolo's first action in the show. That episode was just cringe.
My last piece, so we can wrap, is that I don't honestly know if I need Vegeta or Piccolo there.
Piccolo needs to be there.
Actually, Piccolo, because of the Namek connection, I could see him being there.
Yeah.
But I'm so kind of locked into like Goku's like newfound like friend adventure thing that having Bulma there and Vegeta there and like his old friends there, it kind of feels weird to me.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, and I'm still not. I don't know. I was happy when Goku joined them on their ship, and you know he was like trying to gesture to them to get away from the water. And that was hilarious.
No, they got some really good funny stuff in this show.
Yeah. So I think there's room. I think that everyone...
Is it necessary, though?
Is it necessary? I think Vegeta is probably the least necessary character because Bulma could teach Pansy some stuff and Pansy could teach Bulma some stuff. For me, the most unnecessary part of the show was actually the little mini story about Bulma creating a Demon World spaceship and then it crashed.
Yeah, needing it to fix it.
That's another gag that they have just destroyed, which is ships breaking and needing to replace ships.
By the way, I think because you mentioned that Toriyama loves like drawing, doing ship designs and stuff, so I'm sure that's why all that stuff is in there. But yeah, Obama's always trying to fix something that broke. Yeah. Her teleportation ship, all this stuff.
So my theory is that Vegeta will have something to do. That's my hope.
We did see some stuff at the end of the last episode.
At the least, we know he likes big boobs now. And Piccolo confirmed. Piccolo did say it seems like that's true, and then Vegeta didn't correct him.
Why correct him?
Yeah.
Why correct
him? A real man wouldn't correct him, even if it weren't true.
Yeah, especially traditional man.
Traditional man, yes. So my hopes for the rest of the season are that it keeps up the... Because I do think this most recent episode was good. I'm just, I'm a little worried, but
yeah, we'll see. We'll
see if there's any more speed bumps. But if they can keep it up and the next 10 episodes keep at the level of, episode 8,
and give us a true villain.
It doesn't have to be. Give us a real direction of like I think they're about to with Neva popping out. Yeah, but. We do need to have the stakes start getting more elevated because... That's
kind of why I feel a little weird because I'm like, oh shit, we're halfway through and I don't feel like... I don't...
The fact that we're at the second Tamagami gives me hope that there's about to be a big, tension push. Yeah. Where something's going to happen. It doesn't have to become Dragon Ball Z.
No. Definitely doesn't have to be that.
Something has to happen to say, we're in actual danger here. Right. This is scary shit because otherwise this is just kind of a lighthearted. Maybe it's going to be that, but I'd like for it to not be and for them to actually have to try hard to win. And they will because they're the fusion bug. Right. Like they only fuse when things get intense. Right. So I think that, they're going to beat Tamagami 2 probably. And then maybe something's going to happen where they don't even get a chance to fight Tamagami 3. You're right. My hope for the show is that, number one, like in the opening, we get to see Goku, Vegeta, and Piccolo work together to try to stop something. 2, I would like for them to play with, ages because they don't have to wait to become adults until they go back to Earth. Like, it would be so cool to have them... get back to being an adult for the final fight.
Sure. Oh, sure. Yeah. Got you. I actually didn't think about magic, that piece, actually.
Maybe there's something with the bugs or something.
That's really
They could temporarily be adults for a second. Yeah. Or not a second, but for a while.
Yeah.
And I would like to... I know you said have a real villain, but I'd also like to see some villains, change sides. Maybe Goma sees something about Goku from his past because he's obsessed with watching the past footage. Right. I'd like to see Aransu have to work with the good guys in order to stop someone. I just hope that Neva's the final villain. That'd be so cool. Yeah. And I at least hope that Goma is the final villain. And my dark horse pick is actually Hybis because he has the evil third eye, it looks like.
He does.
That's so funny. He had a belt that had an eye on it the whole time. Yep. And nobody noticed.
I saw that.
Look at my eye belt. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's the
third eye right
That must be the third eye. Yeah, and it reminds me of Berserk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's the Berserk, yeah.
So I hope that he doesn't have betrays Goku and his friends, and Goku's like, Hybis! Hybis!
Very funny character. He's a good little...
I like that he, gives Vegeta something to do. He pisses off Vegeta. And Vegeta can't really kill him, so he's just stuck yelling at him.
Yeah, like a little... Yeah. Vegeta's a funny guy.
Yeah. But anyway, so... overall, my thoughts on Daima are I really do like it. I think it's low stakes and it's fun, but at the same time, I do feel more excited during the fight scenes than most of the last 10 years of Dragon Ball. Because the choreography is so good. I care about all the characters. I love Pansy, and I actually am really starting to love Glorio. I love Goma. I really think that this has some of the best new characters in a long time.
It's a very enjoyable show. The characters are very likable.
Animation, we haven't talked even enough about it, but the animation is they were able to really create something very special.
Yeah.
And
very top tier.
I hope they can keep it up and that there's more stuff that I just feel so excited about. I have to share it with everybody.
Yeah. No, I think they're going to give us at least two more things that we're like blown away by. But
please have Piccolo do something. And
yeah. Let's have Piccolo involved in some way. And but I'm excited for everyone to join us on the ride to Daima's end. When that comes,
we'll come back in a few weeks and do a part 2 for the next 10 episodes. We won't do weekly talks about it.
Yeah.
But thanks, Jala, for joining me on this
adventure.
New story.
Yeah, this new story.
New story. And that's what they say.
Yeah.
And until next week, let's keep sliding.
Slide out.
Slide on. Yeah.